the open sea, a symbol of freedom, no borders, no rules. But today, that freedom is in peril. A Russian oil tanker, the Marinera, is heading towards Europe. This is no ordinary ship. It's at the center of a global storm. US forces are tracking it across the Atlantic, ready to intercept. But why? Because this ship is carrying more than oil. It's carrying tension, politics, power. Just weeks ago, President Trump ordered a blockade on oil tankers leaving Venezuela. The US says it's enforcing sanctions. Venezuela calls it theft. And now, the Marinera is caught right in the middle. This is more than a shipping route. It's about control, about power, and the future of global order. Will the US seize the tanker, or will Russia push back? In the next few minutes, we'll break it down. The causes, the mechanisms, and the consequences of what happens next. The stakes are high. This isn't just about one ship or one nation. This is about a global system that's being tested. The Marinera, a Russian-flagged vessel, has become a symbol of a broader conflict between East and West. It's suspected of carrying Iranian oil, violating US sanctions designed to curb Tehran's influence. For years, the US has been tightening its grip on nations that defy its policies. Venezuela, Iran, Russia, they've all become targets. But the Marinera is more than just a symbol of defiance. It represents a potential showdown at sea. Why? Because of what this ship represents. The US trying to enforce its rules across international waters. And yet, the high seas are governed by international law. Ships flying different flags are protected by those nations. This is a battle over who controls the rules and who gets to enforce them. To understand this conflict, we need to look at history. The open ocean has always been a battleground for power. Throughout the ages, nations have fought to control trade routes and with it, influence. The US has long held dominion over the Western Hemisphere. Sanctions have been one of its most powerful tools, enforcing its will from the Caribbean to the Middle East. But the stakes have grown. In the past few decades, global power has shifted. Russia, Iran, and Venezuela have aligned against US influence, creating an axis of resistance. And now, the Marinera, once just another oil tanker, is caught in the crossfire of this power struggle. US sanctions are nothing new. They've been applied to block oil exports from countries like Iran and Venezuela. But this time, it's different. The international community is watching closely. The question is no longer just about stopping the flow of oil. It's about challenging the very legitimacy of US authority on the high seas. The Marinera isn't the first ship to face US scrutiny, but its story takes a dramatic turn. Just last month, the US Coast Guard attempted to board another tanker, the Bella one, suspected of carrying Iranian oil to Venezuela. They had a warrant in hand, ready to seize the ship under US sanctions, but something unexpected happened. The Bella one suddenly changed course, rebranded itself, and even reflagged from Guyana to Russia. It was a move meant to throw off the authorities, but it only escalated the situation. Now, with the Marinera in the same position, it's not just about the ship, it's about defiance on the high seas. The US has been clear. It will enforce its sanctions at any cost. And this isn't just a matter of following the law. It's a statement of power. The US is sending a message to the world. If you challenge us, we will act. What's really happening here goes beyond oil tankers and sanctions. It's about a web of hidden mechanisms that determine who controls the global order. The Marinera is no ordinary ship. It's connected to a network of players that extends far beyond just Russia and Venezuela. The US isn't just targeting a vessel. It's targeting the systems that allow these countries to defy sanctions. It's the intricate web of ship owners, corporations, and financial networks that make sanctions enforcement so difficult. The Marinera, despite changing its name and flag, still carries a trail of evidence, one that can't be erased by a simple reflagging. This is about controlling the flow of money, oil, and power. And the US isn't alone In this pursuit, other nations have been monitoring these activities, waiting for their chance to assert control over international waters. It's a game of strategy, and each move could set off a series of global repercussions. The situation is escalating. Now we're at a tipping point. The Marinera is approaching Europe, and with it, the pressure is mounting. U.S. military assets are now in play. The U.S. Coast Guard and military transport aircraft have arrived in the U.K. Helicopters are circling, waiting for the signal to act. This isn't just about intercepting a ship anymore. It's about a confrontation on the high seas. The tension between the U.S. and Russia is palpable, and the world is holding its breath, waiting to see who will blink first. If the U.S. acts, it will mark a dramatic shift in how the West enforces its sanctions. But if Russia pushes back, the consequences could be catastrophic. This isn't just a battle over oil. It's a test of strength, of will, of global power. At the heart of this geopolitical chess game, there are real people, real lives. The people of Venezuela, Iran, Russia, they are all caught in this complex web of sanctions, military operations, and power struggles. For the Venezuelan people, the U.S. blockade means more than just economic pain. It means hunger, struggling families, a crumbling economy. And for the people on board the Marinera, their fate is uncertain. They're just sailors doing their jobs, but now they're pawns in a global game they never chose. But beyond these individuals, there's a larger question. What about the ordinary citizens of Europe? If tensions escalate, who bears the cost? The reality is that every action, every decision in this geopolitical game has consequences for everyday people. This is the human toll of a world where power and politics often come at the expense of human lives. The consequences of this standoff won't stop at the high seas. They'll send shockwaves across the globe. The Marinera isn't just a vessel caught between nations. It's part of a larger geopolitical puzzle. The US and Russia are not the only players here. China, Europe, and other nations are watching closely. If the US seizes the ship, it could shift the balance of power. It could change how nations view the enforcement of international sanctions. A failure to act could undermine the US authority, creating a ripple effect that weakens its influence worldwide. And Europe? It could be caught in the middle. As the US and Russia circle each other, Europe might find itself facing difficult choices on how to respond. This is no longer just about oil. It's about the stability of global systems and the future of international relations. So, what happens next? Let's look at the future. First, the best case scenario. The Marinera is seized without incident. The US enforces its sanctions, and the global community largely supports the action. The world sees this as a win for order, for the enforcement of international law, a victory for the US in maintaining its influence. Next, a more neutral outcome. The US attempts to seize the ship, but Russia steps in, and the operation is called off. There's tension, but no direct confrontation. The ship continues its journey, and both sides save face. And then, the worst case scenario, a full-blown confrontation. The US and Russia clash over the Marinera with military force or diplomatic fallout. The consequences could be catastrophic. A breakdown in relations and the start of a new chapter in international tension. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. Whatever happens, the world will never be the same. We've seen how this one ship, the Marinera, has become a symbol of much larger forces at play. It's about more than just oil. It's about power, control, and the future of global politics. The US is challenging Russia, enforcing its sanctions, and making a statement to the world. But at what cost? The consequences of this standoff will echo for years. The world is watching, waiting to see what happens next. So, what can we take from all this? We are witnessing the unfolding of a new era in geopolitics, one where the rules are constantly being tested. The future is uncertain, but the world's response will shape it. Stay tuned. This isn't over yet.